right, welcome back to the Midnight Collective podcast. Once again, this is Eddie, and I'm finally back. It's been a while. It's been a couple months. So what's been going on? Life was happening. Things were happening. Holidays, school, work. Just normal life kind of stuff. Kind of fell off on the podcasting. It was going great. Kind of felt some struggle there, kind of gave into it, and then just went MIA. But it's 2025. We're back. We're better than ever, and we're going to start the year off in February, but it's going to be good. And so what's going to happen now is basically we're just going to start over. We're going to reaffirm what Midnight is, reaffirm what the collective means, and we're just going to kind of go through in a different way. This is going to be a lot more conversational, a lot less informational, more just talking about the things that we were talking about before, and kind of go into more topics, maybe have some people on, kind of open it up. We're just going to make this a little more of a vibe, a feel, something more casual. We're just going to make it work so that, it's an easier talk. These are easier things to think about and talk about, and then we're just going to go from there. So this is the Midnight Collective, the podcast that's about real conversations, real growth, and real impact. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been rocking with us since before, I appreciate your patience and your presence today. So let's get into it. This episode is about setting the foundation, reintroducing what Midnight is, as well as what the Midnight Collective podcast is, and how they connect. Plus, I'll give you a look at what's coming next for the podcast and kind of the conversations we're going to be having moving forward. So, what is Midnight? Midnight is more than just a name. It's a movement. It's a mindset, a brand that's here to challenge, support, and inspire. The mission is simple: to help men become the best version of themselves. Because when men grow, communities grow, families grow, life itself shifts for the better. Now, this isn't just about us as individuals. It's bigger than that. Because when we start working on ourselves, everything around us gets better. The way we show up for our relationships, how we support our kids, and how we show up for our friends, it all matters. Imagine a world where men weren't afraid to be honest, where you weren't scared to ask for help or actually listen when someone else needed it. Think about how much stronger our families and our communities would be. That's what Midnight is about. That's the kind of world I want to be a part of, and I know I'm not the only one. One of the biggest things I've learned is that change starts with a conversation. Most of us weren't taught how to talk about the hard stuff, our fears, our doubts, the things that keep us up at night. But when we finally do, that's when we realize we're not alone. I think I can be the first one to attest to this. I have been and was not a big talker. I've almost never been a big talker. I think that, talking has been something that I've had to grow into. I've had to challenge myself to maintain. But talking to people and being able to open up to others, that's never really been something that I've been able to accomplish on my own. But this isn't about overnight transformations. It's about making small, real changes and having the conversations that matter and showing up for each other. Midnight is about building that space. So if you're someone who's tired of surface level connections, if you want something deeper, you're in the right place. And look, this isn't just about us as men. It's about the people that we love too. So when we work on ourselves, we become better partners, better fathers, better friends, and the impact of those small changes take effect in ways that we would have never imagined. Because when we're good, when we're honest with ourselves, everything changes. The energy we put out shifts. Our relationships get stronger, and that's where the real power is. This brand isn't about selling you something. It's about helping you build something within yourself. So then, where does the Midnight Collective podcast fit into all of this? Well, this is the space where we have those conversations. This is where we get real about the challenges we face. the ones that we don't always make it into the everyday conversations. We're diving into the deep end of personal growth, exploring what it means to truly evolve as a man in today's world. Expect episodes that break down mental resilience, emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and how to navigate modern relationships. This isn't just about self-improvement. It's about real strategies, experiences, and actionable insights you can take with you. We're also looking at bringing in guests, men and women, different perspectives, experiences, and expertise to help us expand our understanding of the challenges we face and how we can overcome them. Some episodes will be raw, solo deep dives. Others will feature candid interviews, and sometimes we'll have Q&A here and there. I don't expect too many of those, but it's going to be possible, and those Q&A sessions are going to be where you, the listeners, get to kind of shape the discussion. I think after each episode, I'll put a poll or a comment box or something, and if you're able to, just ask a question, leave a review, leave something so that we can kind of go off of maybe for the next episode or even build an entire episode around it. But that's why it's called the Midnight Collective, because this isn't just me talking to you. This is a community. It's a conversation. It's a collective journey, and we're in this together. So now, what's the game plan? What's next? So moving forward, you can expect more consistency on my part. Episodes dropping on a more set schedule. I'm looking at doing probably maybe every week, every 2 weeks. I think every 2 weeks was what I was doing before, and it worked out a little good, but we'll go with every 2 weeks right now, and then we'll see how that kind of works out. But yeah, episodes dropping on a more set schedule, so you always know when this is going to be up. We're going to keep it real. It's going to be unfiltered and always focused on the growth. Every episode is going to have, like I was saying before, some Q&A questions, maybe some interviews, but a lot of them are going to be deep dives. And I'd like to get some stuff from the collective and see if that's something that we can go over. But topics that we're looking to cover, mental health, obviously, the resilience of mental states, mindset shifts and personal growth, relationships. We did an episode about that previously, but we'll kind of dive back into that. And the funny thing is that we're going to kind of redo everything. We're going to redo episodes. We're going to redo talks, and hopefully get a little more personal, a little deeper into those, because I think that they were great, but they can be better. We are going to talk about some leadership and stepping up in your life. Us as men should be at the forefront of everything, and I think that becoming better leaders is definitely the first step. Navigating challenges as a modern man, men in today's world, they've grown soft. They're not even going to front about that. Men aren't being providers. They're not being strong. They're not being the men that we come to know as the protectors and the people that are supposed to be, at the front of the line and really bringing things up. But we're going to navigate those challenges because the world today isn't what it used to be, and we're cultivating an environment of men who don't feel like they can be the man or at the front or the person that's providing for the household. So we'll talk about those. So to kind of start closing this out, I just wanted to say that, this podcast is purely informational. This is information that I would like to put out. This is information that I would like to bring to light, and conversations that I would like to start, and engaging with the audience, engaging with the people around me, because I think that this world is a lot different than it used to be. And I think that the men in this world can benefit from this podcast. I think that the women in this world can benefit from this podcast. I think that everything that we're going to talk about here going forward is beneficial to a lot of people in a lot of places. But I, however, understand that I am not always going to be the best person to listen to, nor am I going to always be the person that you should be taking advice from or you need to be listening to. I'm not saying that anything that I'm doing or saying here has to be taken, right? But what I am saying is that this podcast is going to bring a lot of things to light, and we are going to talk about some deep stuff. And, joining me on this journey is something that I am, asking of you as a listener. I'm very passionate about this kind of stuff. I'm very passionate about mental health and the struggle of men in today's world. And I think that, what we're going to talk about here going forward is very enlightening. It's going to be very informational. It's going to be very difficult. But this podcast is here to shed light on the things that people don't want to shed light on, to help build better people, better men. And I think that, we all kind of have our own internal struggles, and maybe something that we're going to say here will bring light to that and kind of help somebody through it. If anything, the goal of this podcast is to help others, as well as kind of see into the life of men today and what we think and what we have to go through. But overall, this podcast is mainly my way of trying to establish better people. This is just the beginning. Well, the re-beginning. But the Midnight Collective is here to stay. And I want you to be part of it. So if this message resonates with you, stick around. If you're listening to this episode on a podcast platform, hit the follow or the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any future episodes. And if anything I said today sparked something in you, interest, question mark, anything, raised a hair, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Anybody. These episodes are going to be tailored towards men, but I know that in the past these have given a lot of insights to women. So anything that you have to share or want to share with others, please do. Let's grow this, right? So, more to come, more growth, more impact. But this is the Midnight Collective, and I'll see you again soon.